As within any 3D application, you've got different selection modes, so we're able to select our faces, edges and vertices. Hexagon is no different in this particular way, and we've got different methods that we can select all of these components. As an example, we've got the rectangular mode, in which when we right click and drag, we can select around a particular portion of our model. Of course, whatever mode we're in, where it's between the vert type, the edges or the faces type selection, we can use this and select those particular types within our model. It must be noted at this particular point that you notice that when I drag around and select, that it doesn't select all the way through. It only selects what's currently directly in front of us. If you cast your eyes down to the bottom right here, we've got what's called the transparent display mode. When we activate this and select, it selects all the way through both sides. In addition to this, when you work on other type of viewports that are locked to a specific axis, say the front view, regardless whether we've got the transparency on or off, it will select directly through the whole object as well. In addition to this rectangular type selection, we've actually got a lasso mode selection. This is very handy for selecting more complex geometry where we want to dodge around certain vertices or faces. As an example, with this lasso mode selected, we can select around all of this outside edge here. In addition to this, we're able to loop around a selection as well. Let's say we wanted to loop in this particular direction, where we select the first two polygons to tell Hexagon in which direction we wish to loop, and then we click on the loop button or the L key, and it will loop around that selection to all joining edges that belong to that initial selection. We've got a ring selection. This is a selection from edges in particular. We can select an edge. If we press ring, you notice that it selects all the way around that particular ring selection. We've also got what's called between. It will select between two particular selections, say between there, and it will select anything in between that. This way it won't loop all the way around. Of course, you can use a combination of all these different types to select and be very specific on what you want to be editing and manipulating. There's also another type of selection which is more linear, and it's quite handy sometimes. This enables you to select, say, one polygon, hold down the control key and just simply drag out the direction in which you want to go to. You notice that we've got this blue line. Well, this blue line gives an indication in which direction we want to actually select in. Of course, this is going to work according to the topology of your model, the direction of polygon flow, so sometimes you might not get the desired results. If you wanted to select independent polygons, say a polygon there and maybe one here, you can see that by clicking on these polygons individually, it deselects the previous one. However, if you hold down the Shift key, you can select any combination of polygons. This is for specific selections of polygons here, edges or vertices. To deselect any, you do exactly the same thing. You hold down the Shift key and just click on these, the ones that you don't want. Another method that you can also select these polygons is to actually just paint select around. So we're just holding down the left mouse button and just dragging around as if we're painting on the actual surface of this geometry. Holding the Shift key, you can de-paint those particular polygons as well. Another very handy feature of selections within Hexagon is the ability to expand a selection. Let's say, for instance, we select these particular 4 polygons in the center here. Well, by holding down the Shift key and the numeric plus key, we can expand that. The minus numeric key will bring it down again. This is very handy if you've got, say, the sleeves of a coat. You may want to loop select around the sleeves, L for loop, and then hold the shift key and the plus numeric key, and you can start to select up that sleeve, or maybe up a particular finger or thumb that you want to pose. Sometimes it might be that you want lots of areas selected, but you know, it might be easier if you can just select the areas that you don't want and then inverse that selection. As an example, let's just select this item here. We select these polygons in the center here, but really we want everything else selected other than these polygons. All we have to do is just press the I key and it will invert that selection. In other particular cases, it may be that you actually want to select all the edges from a particular selection. Now obviously you can select them manually by holding down the shift key, but it may be easier to do like this. So we can just paint select that and press the B key, and it will select the border of that particular selection. There may be times where you wish to actually hide the selection of polygons that you currently got selected. We can do this just down here. Click on Control and B, and you can hide those selection of polygons. This is very handy if you're working inside the head of a character, or you want to actually get into a piece of geometry where the topology or the polygons are actually getting right in the way. To bring that back, you just simply click on Control, Shift and B, or click on this button here and it brings it back. Now you may have many objects in the scene that you've hidden the particular component, so we can say we hide that and we just move on to this other object. I'll just press the escape key twice, it deselects that object. Click on the new object and I'm going to select a couple of polygons on here to hide also. Now according to what object you've got selected, when you click on the Control, Shift and B for unhide, it will only unhide the polygons, or the faces shall I say, that's on that particular object you got selected. However, if you wanted to unhide all of the polygons on every single object, well, you simply click on this button here, which is the Alt and Control, Shift and B, but it's simply easier just to click on this button. You notice that it now brings back everything that we've hidden. By holding down the Control, Shift and I, it would temporarily hide everything in your scene other than the object you got selected.